Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to another episode of the Bo and Joe Show. I'm here with Bodine Sanders and Adrian Ferris. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good evening, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing
Hey, Joe.
well.
Great. How are you?
All's well here. So what's exciting? What's happening this week what caught your interest? I know what I want to start out with, but I'm going to throw it to you, Adrian. What are your thoughts about the week?
Obviously, great week. Great week on the football gridiron, both college and football. I saw something interesting the other day, though, that I'd like to start with if you guys are good with it. We talked a couple weeks ago about the IOC decision on transgender. Actually, they were talking about changing their policy or updating their policy on transgender athletes and competing and requirements and things like that. And the other day I was just looking at something and something popped out at me that I thought was pretty interesting. And Bo, when it comes to diversity and inclusion, I think, nothing hits right more up that alley than this article I saw. So there was a UPenn swimmer who is a transgender athlete. Her name is Leah Thomas, and she competed in a meet in Akron, Ohio. And the results of that meet were crazy results. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through some of the results so everybody can hear what those results were and the disparity of those results. And then kind of, we can kind of talk about it from there. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it, Bo. But she competed in the 500-meter freestyle, setting new Ivy League records in that meet for that particular event. She won the 500-meter freestyle by 7 seconds, excuse me. Then she went on to win the 200-meter freestyle, won that by over 7 seconds with the fastest time in the country of 1 minute 41 seconds, 1 minute 41.93 seconds. Then the final event she entered, she set a new program, pool, and meet record in the 1,650-yard freestyle, finishing at 15 minutes 59 seconds, and won it by over 38 seconds over the second place finisher. So I saw this and it prompted me to just kind of take a look, because the policy in the IOC, and I found out the policy in most cases is that a transgender athlete has to go through testosterone suppression for a full 12 months before they can actually be cleared to compete in what would be a female event transitioning from a male. This particular swimmer competed for 2 years on the UPenn men's team before competing on the UPenn women's team after the transition. So the thing that I found was that testosterone suppression only leads to about a 5% loss of muscle mass in the individual in a 12-month period. So what that basically means is after that 12-month period, they're cleared to compete, but they are still they have a substantial advantage over the other females when it comes to, in this case, getting in the pool and swimming. So the question becomes, okay, when is fair, and who is it fair to? Obviously, you don't want to necessarily exclude the transgender athlete, but when does it become unfair to the athletes that they're competing against? Is probably the best way to put it. So I'd be interested to hear what everybody or what you guys would have to say on that, because to me, just quite honestly, to me that just doesn't seem fair at all. And it's obvious that there's a huge advantage, at least in this one particular case, while competing.
I'll take it.
You take it. I'm going to take it too, but you take it first.
Well, first of all, it's complicated, without a doubt, right? It's complicated. And I think I said this before, correct me if I'm wrong, but we need more information. We need more studies. We need more people with high IQs and not emotionally attached to get together and make some decisions, right? So, first of all, we are a country of laws. And then those laws can be moved and changed based on the public, right? And the way the public feels about a particular issue, right? We went from not being able to marry, outside the race, to laws changing where people can marry whomever they want. And that's across the board, even though some of those laws are being, I guess the right word is threatened in some parts of the country. But, it's some laws can be moved based on public opinion, right? Public opinion changes over time, right? So it's a complicated issue. So I think we need to take this topic seriously at the highest levels, right? And forget the IOC, because they're losing credibility every single day that they're dealing with the issue with Peng Shuai, or the tennis young lady who no one knows if she's safe or not. So the IOC has lost credibility. We need smart people who can spend time studying the issue, seriously studying the issue, right? A conference of people, and then let's study this thing. Let's get the information, because if we get all of the right information, then we can make some serious, fair, equitable decisions. So now it's not just diversity and inclusion. It's now DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So we need people to take this thing seriously, because it's becoming an issue, not in just small parts of our country. It's now become an issue everywhere, right? And again, I'm all for people competing if they're able to compete and there's no extraordinary opportunities for them to be injured. The example I think I used was, if someone wants to play running back and I'm a strong safety, if they're in the backfield, they have a helmet and shoulder pads on, and my job is to tackle that person. Well, listen, I was known for the hammer. I'm not trying to tackle anybody. I'm trying to hurt them. Right? So, that's my mentality. If they're on the field, let's play. Let's see who can beat who, right? Who can outwill the other person. But I just don't have enough information. If I had, if somebody took my 1984 tennis racket and said they were going to club me over the head So I had to make a decision now. I say let them compete because I just don't have enough information. I'd rather them compete than to complain about them competing. So that's just me, because I know if I'm a swimmer, I'm gonna swim as hard as I can. If I get beat, I'm gonna be mad about it, but I'm not gonna sulk about it. I'm not gonna walk out the pool and complain about it all the way home and in my sleep and the next day and the next day. That's not me. So,
well, that's not you. But if you're getting in the pool daily to compete and you have no shot at being able to win that competition, then basically that's compromising the objective and fair and safe competition. So there's a difference between the two of them, right? I feel the same way.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree at all. All I'm saying is that I don't have enough information, and if this is going to become an issue, continually becoming an issue across the country, we need as a country to take this thing seriously, right? And we need to put some smart people together and figure out how we can make this thing fair for everybody so people can go on and compete and live their lives. And because I mean, come on. I mean, the longer we touch it with a 10-foot pole, that's not solving the issue, right? We need to solve the issue. It's an issue. It's already an issue. Let's put some people together and figure out how to do it. I just don't want the IOC involved because they've lost credibility with me.
So I'm going to be much less politically correct than you are, Bodine. I'm going to respond as a woman, number one. And I think that it is unfair. I think when you have somebody who's competing and a male, it's much different in your scenario if a woman was coming on as a running back. You know, there's nobody who's going to suggest that she's going to be, transition a woman. Right. No one's going to suggest that. But as somebody who, played, and I'm certainly not claiming, for people who know me out there, I don't want to claim that I was ever a stellar athlete. But I will say that, I did play varsity softball and throughout the years. And women's sports is competitive in its own right. It's very difficult to get a position when you're competing against other women, and then you're coming in to somebody. I mean, 38 seconds is that's a tremendous gap. I mean, we're not talking 4 seconds. We're not talking once. And swimming 1 second is huge. 38 seconds. That does not seem equitable to me. And if there's anybody who's politically correct, anybody who believes in inclusion, I'm all for that. And I certainly think that transgender athletes should be embraced and included, but I don't see at this juncture how that's equitable, because it's not. And I think that people, we're all trying to, that's the hot topic, the hot trend. We have to be inclusive, and we do. But when you're saying we need to bring people in at the highest levels, I'm thinking, what about people at the lowest levels, the athletes who probably can't speak out, because then they're going to seem as if they're inappropriate. They're going to feel as if they're being retaliatory towards these individuals. So what do? You're an athlete who's competing, and you feel like you can't speak out, because then it's cancel culture, right? If you start talking negatively about a transgender athlete that you're competing against, your own reputation is being put on the line. So I don't think it's equitable. I think we're trying to be very inclusive, but then we're excluding the other athletes from even having an opportunity. And exactly that, you're training your whole life, and then somebody's coming on, especially in this case. And then I'm wondering, Adrian, do you know what the results of that individual were? What were the results on the male team? I mean, did he dominate that field as well? Or is it just on that would be an interesting perspective too. How well did he do competing when he was on the male team?
Yeah, I
And-
didn't look that up. It's probably would be kind of hard to find in swimming. I don't know how, how much they publicize that, but I'll take a look and see if I can get some information on that.
Well, listen, that's again,
Yeah,
that's why Joe is the superstar. Because again, I didn't think of this. Ferris, you didn't think of this, but she allowed me the opportunity to listen, and then I thought of something. You are absolutely correct. It's not just bringing in people on the highest level. It's diversity of thought and diversity of backgrounds. So we need to have multiple levels of people involved, even the student athletes on every level, and everybody gets to participate with research, their opinions, all of it. Because this is a complicated issue. So you are exactly right. We need to have a coalition of people together and work through this. And guess what? It is not going to be a 6-week decision-making process. This thing is going to be a while because some folks will be doing research. Some folks will be doing research from a stats perspective. Some folks will be doing research from a chemical and a bodily biology perspective. So we need all these opinions. Absolutely. No question about it. So yes, everybody needs to be included for us to get to where it's equitable and fair. And that comes from diversity of different fields, different industries, different athletes, student athletes, all the above, teachers, all of it. Absolutely.
Jason has a comment. Welcome to the show, Jason. It seems to me it wouldn't be as big a deal if it was a female transitioning to a male, which I think we all agree with. Also, simple biology is that a male has a physical dominance over a female. And I think that I believe women can do anything, but I have to agree with that. And maybe the answer is that we have a co-ed division in the Olympics. And perhaps that's true. Maybe that is what we need to do. And maybe some sports are more equitable than others. Obviously, swimming. I don't know. I think that, we'd have to really look across the board. I think it's very.
And that's not a bad idea. I mean, I don't like using that word. I don't want, or at least I don't think, and you guys tell me what you think. I don't think it would be a fair thing to separate transgender athletes from other athletes. But if that is something that is discussed and everybody says, okay, at least they can compete while we're going through this discussion and this process, then maybe that might be an option, right? We still want them to compete. We don't want people not competing, right? That's the bottom line. We don't want to exclude anybody, right? We have Special Olympics for a reason, right? So maybe that's an idea. I don't know if it's a fair idea. I'm not that smart. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. All my sisters are smarter than me. So, hey, listen, but I think at least it's an idea on the table. Then we can discuss it while they still compete. What do you think?
Well, I think it's tough because you're marginalizing everybody else for that one individual. And that's where it gets tougher for me, because basically it's okay. We don't want to leave them out, and I get it. And I agree with it, but we're going to marginalize the other 30 of them for the one, because that one is superior in some cases. And obviously it's not in all cases,
Right.
But in some cases, depending on what it is that they're doing, what the event is, it's going to matter. And when there's clear separation like that, then that marginalizes everybody else and their right to compete at a fair level. So that's where that's the tough part of the whole deal. And I don't have an answer for it. I mean, I'm not sitting here acting like I do, but I just look at it and I just don't see how everybody else gets marginalized for one. That's not fair either.
I agree. And think about it when we're speaking about performance enhancing drugs. I mean, this is a biological advantage. If somebody were
Absolutely.
to inject something and to give them that same physical, biological, chemical advantage, they would be tossed out or suspended for 2 years. And to me, I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, there are some similarities. So I think that's the issue. I think it's it's a natural component, but it's the same substance that if somebody was injecting, we would well, not ourselves, but of course the IOC would ban them. So I think it's a very difficult correlation. And Justin's commenting again, he's saying, Adrian, we kind of do that already, to be honest. And I can believe he's speaking about the marginalization. And like we said, 38 seconds is not fair. It's not even close. It's not even competitive. That's the thing. It's not a competitive. It's not a race. It's not a game. We might as well hand that individual the trophy.
Right. In track, that's a blowout, right? And in probably in swimming, that's, if there's any, what's a better word than blowout? Right? So
massacre. It's
it's
not even it's just
that person has seriously lapped the field, pun intended. So it's a complicated story, and we are offering our opinions, and we have 100.
Maybe that's a great word. Obliteration.
Obliteration.
That's a great word. That's
good word. We're offering our opinions on the fly. That's why I said we need people to seriously take this seriously and study the issue, where people, their job will be to study this issue 24/7. We're offering an opinion, and we have 100 other things we do throughout the day, right? So yeah, that's why we have to take it seriously, because it's been an issue in track. It's been an issue in swimming. What other sport has it been an issue in? Anybody can think of another sport it's been an issue in?
I don't know, but I would venture to think that it's gonna show more in individual events than team events.
Correct. Right. Especially Olympic individual sports. Right. Yep.
Definitely.
So it's definitely a serious topic. No doubt about it.
We're not going to solve it here tonight. So
that's true. That's true. We took a stab at it.
We took a stab at it. Jason saying weightlifting is another one that he saw something on. Yeah, that would be a tough one too. That would be a tough one too. So I want to talk about, and I know that we talked about it, another, it's a very heavy topic again. I want to talk about it, heavy in some respects, and then there's an uplifting component. As you know, the Michigan, there was a horrific school shooting, obviously last week. Anybody who knows me knows that is certainly it's a topic that's very sensitive for me. One, as a parent, two, as a veteran in the criminal justice community. I've worked in the criminal justice community for over 2 decades, and school shootings is a hot button topic for me for many reasons. And also as an advocate for mental health, I look at it from so many different perspectives, and that's another issue that we can't solve, and we're not going to talk about gun control or any of that nature, but I do want to say and pay homage to those families and all of those students out in Michigan. And I don't know if you saw any of it, but one of the most horrific components of that, and we were involved. I'll tell you a little bit about it. A couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, my sons and I were at Dave and Buster's. My son has Asperger's. He was in a social outing, And it was the first time that he ever asked a friend. He had a homework assignment. He was admitted to the state university for a special pilot program. And it was the first time that he ever asked a friend to do something. And we went to Dave and Buster's, and it's not a funny story, but in some respects it is. So I have these two children who have Asperger's. I have my two younger sons. They were probably about 12, 10, and 8 at the time. We sat down in Dave and Buster's. I'm a very protective parent, but I said, I'm going to sit here and wait for the lunch. You guys go play, come back in 10 minutes when the lunch is here. And I looked up, and about 5 minutes later, and people were screaming and running out of Dave and Buster's into the parking lot. And I couldn't find my children. I ran over to them, and that was before they had cell phones because they were so young. Only my youngest one had a cell phone. And I ran up to the crowd and I said, "What's going on?" And they said, now make it emotional here. And they said, there's a shooter in the mall, is what they said. And I couldn't find my 3 children, and I had somebody else's child with me too. So the two with Asperger's could not find the 2 younger ones. I found, and they had no idea. My 2 younger sons, they were oblivious to the chaos around them. And all of a sudden, my middle son, it just clicked with him that something was wrong. And I said, "Honey, you have to go outside, and I have to go find Alex." And he said, "I can't go outside." And I said, "Oh no," I said, "you have to stay inside by the door." And he said, "I can't, I have to get out." I said, "Stay right here." I went to find the other 2. I could not find the other 2. And then after they forced me out of the mall, and then I couldn't find the 2 younger, my 2 younger sons.
Oh my
And
goodness.
because they had went outside. So I went out there, and it's a much longer story, but I went outside, and thankfully they were all out there. But my middle son, who was probably 10, maybe younger than that, I don't recall, he was with a police officer, and he was screaming because he thought that I was shot inside. So it turned out that it wasn't, when we hear shooter in the mall, I think we envision a mass shooting, a mass casualty. It didn't turn out to be with that. It was like a gang exchange. There was a shot fired, and somebody, but it wasn't what we envisioned. But I'm saying that panic and chaos that I felt.
Right.
So I think about these families all the time who go through those, and I don't know if you saw the video where the kids were in the classroom, and the shooter came to the door and said, "It's the sheriff's office, you're safe, come on out." And they had the presence of mind to realize that they weren't safe. And that's one of the things that, in my profession, that's one of the things that we talk about. How do we go into schools and we talk about how to react when there's an active shooter in the classroom or in the school. So it's very personal for me. So I give those children presence of mind, just so many props, because they saved themselves. If they had opened that door, it would have probably been a much worse tragedy.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, my story turned out to be fine, but my children still talk about it to this day. But anyway, so that's one component. But I think to myself, the trauma that the people go through who are actually in an active shooter situation when they're those families. So I definitely want to pay my respects to them and I'm feeling their grief, certainly. But anyway, so the Michigan teams went out this weekend and they paid tribute to them.
Mhm.
One of the victims was a football player. He was a high school football player, and he rushed the shooter and tried to save his classmates. So the University of Michigan paid tribute to him. They wore a special logo on their hat, an emblem, and had his number and his initials on their tire. And I believe what is his name?
Tate Meyer.
I don't want to. And so I think that was great. And then they went out and they had a blowout. They won. They beat Iowa, right? Like 42-3. So I think that was great. Some of the students were there. His family was there. Some of the families were there. was a great moment. And then the Lions did something very similar. They wore the emblem on their hat, and so for the first I don't want to take it away from the Vikings. The Vikings did as well. They both wore the emblem on their helmets, and then the Lions had their first win of the season. So I like to believe that those, some of that was in tribute to those victims. So I just wanted to mention that story.
So what was Tate Myers' jersey number?
42.
So I paid attention to the story as well. I watched the game, it's an all around great story. Sometimes tragedy brings people together, and then when you include sports and give folks an opportunity to get their mind off of that tragedy and see some exciting sports. We're not reinventing the wheel. This has been done for years. Sports is a great vehicle to get your troubles off your mind. So I was happy that Detroit won. It was in an exciting fashion. I was also happy that Michigan won because Harbaugh has been getting beat up for years about not winning the big games, and they were motivated to get it done. And it's just a little divine intervention that they won 42-3. So, it's not a coincidence, right? These things happen for a reason. So it's just an all around great story.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
All right. So yeah, that's a tough one. So let's look at some of our comments. So we have what's up. I believe that's probably Adam. Hi, Adam. Welcome to the show. We have Justin, of course. We saw Jay on here. David's here. Let's see. And then we have a new fan who's actually a friend of Justin. So I like him already. I'm going to show you this. Joe, you can go toe to toe with Bo. So well, welcome to the show, Fred. All right. I love it. All right. So we covered some heavy topics. Let's talk about something more lighthearted. Bodine had me watching Eli and Peyton this Monday night. Pretty funny guys. They had David Letterman on. I've always been a big David Letterman fan. Been to his show when obviously his show was in New York. Been there, a lot of fun. I want to say hello to Mr. Sanders. Go Michigan! Thank you, Mr. Sanders, for tuning in. So what do you think? What do you think about? I know, Adrian. I don't know. What do you think about? I mean, this isn't our typical topic, but what do you think about Eli and Peyton? You like the banter, the guests? What are your thoughts?
I'm more traditional, so I have not. I tried to turn it on in the first couple weeks, and I watched the traditional, broadcast. I can't. I mean, obviously, I love the Peyton Manning commercials, the Eli Manning commercials, everything they do. But when I'm watching a football game, I'm not kind of looking for the comedy factor. So I'm probably not the right guy to ask.
and listen, this is why Disney is doing the right thing, because it
pulls the other people in, though.
That pulls the other people in, because I absolutely love it. I haven't watched Monday Night Football the traditional way unless they don't have their program on that Monday night. If they're on, I'm watching it, because I absolutely enjoy how they're working through, right? They slow it down. They go through a play. They point out things where people who are not football wonks can take the time to understand it and learn it. And then they've got some entertainment in it. They're bantering each other because they're brothers, right? Eli's the baby, Peyton's the middle child, right? So they have a great relationship where they can go back and forth. And then the guests add to the program, I absolutely love it. I think it's a great program. Absolutely.
I don't know. I think Adrian and I are just as funny, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you something else I enjoyed. I don't typically watch college football, but I do whatever Bodine tells me to do. I watch some college football on Saturday, and I think you forget how excited and pumped these kids get. I mean, they're just over the top passionate about it, which is, of course, what you like. You like to see, and you like everybody to be passionate about what they do. So I love that about it. They were just, as kids, a couple teams came out. I don't want to say a couple teams. Well, a couple teams came out. Some of them were holding hands, which, it's odd to see a group of college men. They're really men, but kids in some respects, holding hands coming out. I just found it endearing in many ways, and they were certainly pumped. And sometimes they, on this flip side, they're passionate and impulsive too. There were a couple skirmishes, but all in all, I thought it was great.
Well, that's the difference between college football. It's good for those who don't understand football. Yeah. Thanks, Pops.
For Eli Payton. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's different about college football and, NFL football. College football is all about the atmosphere, the students, the experience of it all.
The band,
all
fight
of it.
songs.
All of it.
Oh, yeah.
Every single bit of it. And then if you don't get an opportunity, try to definitely now get an opportunity to watch some of the HBCU games, because in their halftime show highlights the bands, and then there's a different type of culture in the halftime show. So there's enough entertainment to go around for everyone, right? In terms of college football, because there's so many teams, so many different regions, right? I think and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure our trusted producer, Crispy Bacon, can tell me. I think Iowa, when they play their games at halftime or at the third quarter or the end of the third quarter, they wave because there's a hospital that's built up on a hill, and the hospital looks down into the stadium. And that hospital is like a children's hospital for kids with cancer and so forth. So the crowd gets involved and waves at the hospital, and the kids get to see that. Imagine you standing at a window in a hospital and 100,000 people are screaming and waving at you. That is, it makes my skin, it makes my hair stand up on my, my arms, because it is absolutely incredible when you see that. So that is the power of sports, what sports can do for kids and the overall atmosphere.
Well, and the other level of excitement for college football or Collins athletics, period, is the fact that you have people that actually are alumni of that school. Mm-hmm. So those fans feel like they have skin in the game.
Absolutely.
It's their university. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's really where the passionate difference comes between an NFL fan and a college fan. Most 99% of NFL fans have not played for that team that they're rooting for.
Correct.
So it's a totally different deal.
Right.
So Brad has a serious question. I'm going to put it up. So Joe, can you outrun Bo in a foot race?
Fred, now she can. Absolutely. Now she can, without a doubt. Because I can tell you right now.
I think that's still up for discussion.
Listen, these knees and these ankles aren't running anywhere. Nowhere. That's why I love golf. I don't have to run on the golf course. It's all about swinging that club and walking towards the ball. Right?
And then Brandon joined us. What's up, Queen Joe and her Knights? So thanks.
Knighted once again.
Yes, we are. What's up, Brandon?
Keep knighting us, Brandon.
And he's saying Adrian looks like a billboard of sponsors. Well, you know,
Don't
we're
he?
Yeah,
starting
I'm in my NASCAR gear today. Little Chase Elliott, the 9, Hendrick Motorsports, Napa. Yeah,
That's great.
figured I'd change
Gonna
it
have
up
to-
tonight, Brandon.
We're gonna have to put that on TikTok, and maybe we'll get some. You know, maybe we'll get a shout out by NASCAR. What do you know? Who knows? Let's
There you
give it a
go.
shot.
There you go.
All right, so Bodie, I'm gonna throw it to you. Well, I had my topic of the night. Adrian has his. What's your topic of the week?
Well, I'm gonna start with Tiger Woods. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. He is going to compete in a couple of weeks with his son in a father-son tournament. So we'll get a chance to see. It's a 2-day tournament. So we'll get a chance to see how he looks while he's playing with his son. And I'm pretty sure he is holding back from letting the public know what he can do because he knows how expectations will grow. So, you know, I'm interested in seeing how he looks when he plays. But that's going to be a great tournament because a lot of golfers will be competing and they'll have their sons. So that's going to be some great stories. You'll enjoy that, right? And and then the next thing is tennis. Looks like Serena Williams is not going to play in the Aussie Open. So she's 40 years old. If she's going to get that record, she's got to get healthy. It's her hamstring, and we know about hamstrings. If you can't get that hamstring right, you're done, right? So she's got to get that hamstring right. So that was one reason I brought out my prop. This is my tennis racket that I was given by my tennis coach at Cheyney University back in 1984. I still have it. So that's a 38-year-old tennis racket. But here is my prized possession, signed by Billie Jean King.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, since you're the king of props, why you didn't come out wearing your Speedo when you knew we were going to be talking about swimming.
Because it's a little too cold up here right at this time of year. It's just like 35 degrees out there. Are you kidding me?
Tell her it's camouflaged right now.
So Brandon's saying, and I don't know what the comment is. I'd like to know what it is, Brandon. He's saying he liked Tiger's comments that he is, and I'm not sure what that is. He is a dad with his son. So I don't know exactly. I think might be a typo in there.
Okay.
And Lo Rose joining the show. Hello, Lo Ro, welcome. It's good to see you. So Brandon, if you're still on here, if you clarify what that comment is, because that'd be interesting to hear that. I think it's full circle. It must be so full circle for Tiger, right? He started out with his dad, and now he's playing on the circuit with his son Charlie. And by all reports, Charlie's a very talented golfer in his own right? So it'll be interesting to see how he develops as a golfer as time goes on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm interested in seeing both of them play and all of the golfers play with their sons. And I think it's in 2 weeks. So
I believe I read it's the 18th and the 19th, December 18th and 19th.
Yeah, not this weekend, but next weekend.
yeah, I'll be watching.
Oh, I love that. I do love the comment, Brandon. Brandon's clarifying. Tiger commented that he is playing as a dad with his son, not as Tiger Woods with his son.
Yep.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
that.
Absolutely.
That's a
Yeah.
good comment.
Yeah.
I love that.
I want to see his mobility. I want to see, can he turn and how much of a turn he can get with that bad, that injured leg. You're right. I want to see how much flexibility and mobility he has, because that's going to determine how he proceeds.
Well, it's possible that you're not going to see a whole lot of it. It's a 2-round best ball tournament. So in best ball, you're not hitting every stroke.
Right.
So, you may not see him you may see him off the tee, you may not see him off the tee. It'll be interesting to see, what we do get to, view from him and what kind of flexibility he may have.
Yeah, his son
Okay.
actually carried him the last time they played. His son was better off the tee and
Yep.
better out of the fairway. So you're right. He may be just, cleanup duty.
He may be just putting.
He might.
You never know.
Regardless, think about how phenomenal this return is. I mean, that accident was less than a year ago. It was on February 24th. At that time, they were talking about amputating his leg, and now to even be walking, nevertheless, competing, and even as he's saying, as a dad. I mean, and Tiger Woods is never just going to be a dad on the golf course, of course, but I mean that it's just a phenomenal comeback. I mean, it just really speaks to his work ethic, his resiliency, his passion and dedication. And I have to believe he's in pretty. And certainly not the kind of shape he was in, but I have to believe he's probably in pretty good shape because he knows all eyes are going to be on him. So I think he's going to come out faring better than we expect.
We'll definitely see, because this is the type of tournament he does not have to walk this course. He can use a cart in this course. So we're going to get an indication of, where he is pretty quickly.
He'll be using a cart. I heard that already. He's using a cart.
Well, Brandon's thinking maybe Bodine is looking to throw a challenge to Tiger based on his return. You might be able to compete with Tiger now, Bodine.
No, Brandon. I think I can beat Charles Barkley without a doubt. But Tiger, he could probably beat me left-handed. So no, I'd put money on playing Charles. And a cheesesteak and a hoagie. Isn't that the hoagies he's repping now? The Subway hoagies Charles is repping now? Yeah, I'll bet him a big Subway hoagie, 12 foot long or whatever it is.
All right, so let's talk about some football. We talked about a lot of heavy topics. We're already getting to the top of the hour. You want to talk about the college football games? I think that we ought to start there. There were some exciting games and some really some disparities in scoring. Certainly, what did you think about the Final Four? What happened? I think there were some upsets in there, right?
Well, I think that the important game that you're talking about, we talked about Michigan winning their championship, the Big Ten, but the SEC was typical. People assumed Georgia was going to be there and Georgia was going to hang tough. And what happened? Nick Saban does what he does best. Him and his coaching staff came in there and just basically embarrassed Georgia. And it's a shame because I thought it was going to be a better competition, and it wasn't. And guess what? Just like our trusted super fan, Justin, texted me, that quarterback from Alabama is going to win the Heisman Trophy because he is outstanding. He can throw that rock, right? Or throw that pill. So, they deserve to be number one. I don't see Cincinnati pulling off an upset against Bama. And who is it? It's
Michigan, Georgia. Yeah, so that's going to be the big game.
Yeah,
that'll be the big game. For Georgia, in my mind, I put that loss on the defense because Georgia is a team that has to play from in front.
Okay.
They're not a team that's going to come from behind.
Yeah.
And, all year they've kept everything close. They gave up so many big plays in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And they got down and when they get down like that, they're not against an Alabama team. Right. They're not going to come back.
Right.
They played a lot better defensively in the second half. They changed their blitz schemes, and they did a much better job containing the quarterback, and you could see the difference. So the question is going to be, do they get past Michigan, which I think it's going to be a very good game because Michigan has a great offensive line. We talked about their bookend defensive ends. Hutchinson's going to be on the stage at the Heisman Trophy show this Saturday night as well.
Right.
So the question is going to be who comes out of that game. I'm going to put myself out there and say that if Georgia wins this game, I think the national championship game will be a little bit different.
Oh, I don't, no doubt, because in football, you can't play a team twice in the same year that close of a time frame and
You
not
learn
learn
some things.
and not learn
Yes.
something. Absolutely.
That's right.
Not learn
That's
something.
right.
And so I'll go one step better. If Georgia gets past Michigan without any major injuries and they play Alabama, it's a wrap. Georgia's winning the national championship. Because that's just the way it works. When you get a rematch that close in a season, yeah. And again, Georgia has the talent on defense to change the flow of the game. So I'll take that step I'll take that step further. I don't think Cincinnati has a shot against Bama. I don't think they have a shot, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't either. But I've been wrong a lot this year.
Hey, I'll still watch it. I'll still watch it, but I don't see it.
Well, I'm not, you know where my heart is now. Now
Michigan?
I like Michigan.
Michigan, absolutely.
So hopefully they'll come out on top. I've been Alabama fan, so
I got family down there. Oh, let's move on.
They're crazy. Even Justin saying "Roll Tide."
Yeah,
I've always hated that expression, which is probably.
I think Justin's a bandwagon guy. I'm starting to come to the conclusion that Justin's a bandwagon guy. What do you think?
He likes winners. That's the bottom. He likes winners. He does not like losers. That's for sure. He loves winners.
Well, that's why he likes us so much.
There you go. Can't fault him for that. No doubt about that.
So Brandon's saying, any chance Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan gets the Heisman?
No. Sorry, Brandon. No,
Brandon. I wish the answer was yes. Quite honestly, because I'm tired of seeing quarterbacks win the Heisman Trophy. I really am, and the way Hutchinson has played this year, he has shown every game how dominant a player he is.
Oh, he's listen, I'm a defensive player. I love him. He's a great defensive player. But the quarterback from Bama absolutely has shown his skill and his talent and the pressure that he has on him as the starting quarterback for Bama. So, yeah.
I was going to say, Bryce Young, Heisman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on. It's remember, there's only a select few defensive players that have won the Heisman Trophy, so you have to be extremely you can't just be a defensive player and get sacks. You have to score points like the former Michigan cornerback did. What is his
I know
name?
who you're talking about.
Right? So he played for the Raiders.
Charles Woodson.
Yeah. So you have to have that kind of effect on a game, where you intercept the ball and take it back and score some touchdowns, do some kickoff returns and punt returns and things of that nature. So
would Young have gotten the Heisman if they would have lost versus Georgia?
I think it just depends on how he played.
How would he? Yeah, I'd agree with that. Depending on how he would have played, right. Because they could have lost if the defense didn't do their job and allowed Georgia to put up lots of points. So that would not have been his fault, right? So
yep.
All right, so we better get into the NFL. We talked about the Lions game, Minnesota. We talked about that. So Tom Brady and Gronk had an amazing game, which of course is great for my fantasy football team. So I was certainly glad to see Gronk back in his prime form. They had an amazing game. What'd you think of that? And Justin, of course, is waiting for our commentary on the Patriots game.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? I mean, the Patriots are really looking pretty good, and you know, there's potential. I mean, there's talk they may actually make the Super Bowl.
Well, listen, Gronk is back. Gronk is Tom Brady's Peanuts blanket, right? From the Peanuts. Who was that? Who was the Peanuts?
Linus,
right? He's the blanket. He's a Hall of Fame tight end without a doubt. So, you know, he's got the security blanket back, and they're going to have an opportunity to win some games. But again, these next 4 or 5 weeks, life is going to be interesting for a lot of these teams. I'm looking forward to all the games.
Well,
Brandon
the
has
Bucks,
an opinion. Hold on a sec. Brandon's opinion. Lions are back. It all starts with one win.
It does, Brandon. It does. No doubt about it. Let's see how they do.
The Bucks have been doing a good job really including Leonard Fournette in their offense. He has been targeted a whole lot more out of the backfield in the passing game.
Yep.
And I think that's made a big difference for them. Adds more balance, someone else to think about.
Yep.
You know, AB's out. I'm just surprised that their wideouts are not. They're not as, you know, they've got a great wide receiving core, and even though Antonio Brown's out, the other guys are very good, and they have not been a big deal in these games. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving down the road with them, because I'm seeing more of that dink and dunk type offense from them than them really getting down the field. When AB was on the field, they were getting down the field a lot more in the passing game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, real quickly, the reason that is that the defensive coordinators are scheming to take away those receivers and forcing Tom Brady to dink and dunk, and he's taking what the defense is giving him because he's a veteran and he knows how to be patient, and he's got a running back who could not only run the ball between the tackles, outside the tackles, he can throw the kid the ball and he'll catch it and score. So, that's what's happening. You take what the defense gives you. That's what you're supposed to do as an offense. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Brandon has a question for us, and did we talk about Brown getting, which we have not, Brown getting suspended and Rodgers did not. We didn't talk about that at all.
Well, Brown got suspended for producing a fake COVID-19 immunization card. So it's really two different things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because originally he said he wasn't vaccinated, and then he got the fake card, and then he got the shot. But by then he had already shown the fake card, and you can't ask for forgiveness in this case.
Which is actually illegal from what I understand.
So, yeah, because what people don't know is they put your name in a system, right? They don't just put your card, they don't just sign the card. They actually put your name in a database to say that you got vaccinated.
Yeah, you do have a lot number on the card.
Oh my goodness. How dumb can you be?
So Brandon's asking, so do you feel it was fair that Rodgers did not get suspended? No, I think he should have been suspended. So
yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah, I think he should have been suspended.
I do too.
I think he should have been suspended.
I'm not saying I don't think he should. It's just a totally different scenario.
Right, you're comparing apples to oranges.
It's a totally different scenario.
Yep. No, I agree. But I think he should have got suspended. Yep.
Me too. I think it's just as egregious. I mean, you're still portraying because you're putting other people at risk. You know, he was coming in and not even wearing the mask. You know, is one thing. You know, saying that he had the antibodies, he felt as if he was. You know, he's a smart man. If you read any of the data, you know the antibodies aren't lasting, and really we have no idea how long the antibodies last. So I think the biggest thing for me is, you know, you misled people and said that you were, what did he say, immune or whatever he said. I can't remember the exact terminology, but the fact that you were going to parties, you weren't wearing your mask, you were putting other people at risk, knowing that you weren't vaccinated. You know, he's pretty smart. I don't believe that he wasn't aware. It's just an arrogance. It's an arrogance thinking that you're above the rules and regulations.
But like I said, go ahead, Bo.
No, I was going to say, here's a metaphor for you. Rodgers said he was going to rob a bank, walked into the bank, and then walked out, where Brown walked into the bank and held up the item, the card that says, "Give me all your money." So that's the difference.
And the other difference is the NFL knew Rodgers walked in the bank and walked out.
Correct.
That's the difference. So like I said, when we talked about it, to me, it was on the NFL and the Packers organization because they knew the deal. Everybody else didn't know the deal.
Right. So Antonio Brown said he was going to rob the bank as well, but he walked in with a piece of paper with it's written on it, "Give me all your money." Dumb.
Right. He did that with no mask, knowing he was on camera.
No mask. with his Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey on, with his name on the back. Come on, Brown. Come on, man. Come on, man.
But to me, that speaks, and this isn't being stereotypical or generalizing anyone because it's across all professions, but there are just certain people who are at the top of the game who just believe they don't have to follow any rules, don't have to follow, you know, and it happens everywhere, I'm sure. And you know, the Walmart chain, there's always somebody who thinks that they're the smartest person in the place and that they can outwit everybody, and the reality is, yeah, it's really difficult to do. I mean, there's always, in most instances, there are a few people who are smarter than you in the room. You just fail to recognize it.
Yep. No doubt. So let's talk about what our fearless fan wants to talk about. The Bills Pats Monday night. The Bills got dump trucked. They got run over. You can pull up the stats, Ferris. But if I remember correctly, the Pats ran the ball 46
times. Yeah. 46 times, put it in the air 3 times.
For 200 plus rushing yards and 19 yards total passing. That is Bill Belichick saying, "We're going to do this all night long. You stop us. If you can't stop us, that's your problem." And that's exactly what he did.
And it's no surprise there because I think everybody knows the Patriots are the more physical team. So it really just played into their hands. You know, you look at the game and you just look at the difference in how the game was played and how many times Josh Allen put the ball in the air versus what the Patriots did. You know, the Bills could not move the ball on the ground. They had no choice but to put it in the air. And the Patriots just came out and said, "I'm going to out-physical you. I'm going to run it down your throat."
Yeah.
And that's basically what they did.
They got manhandled, and that's embarrassing. I mean, that's literally embarrassing, right? So,
but for those of us who have played in that type of cold, so you know, that added factor, you know, when you're getting smashed like that and you're freezing.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
There's nothing worse than that.
Listen, I'm pretty sure I have pictures of me in thermals with a sweatshirt underneath my pads and then my jersey, without a doubt, because I couldn't stand it. But I needed to be warm and fuzzy to play in that kind of cold weather. And my teammates will tell you, I was angry. I played angry because I couldn't stand the cold. So they knew if I was coming at you, I was coming at you angry and mad, and you were going to pay for it because I couldn't stand the cold. Couldn't stand it.
Playing that stuff looks great on TV.
It ain't. It's not.
But it's not.
It's not. It's miserable, especially if you come from Florida.
Yeah. I wonder if it's any better today because they have, like those hand warmers now. I wonder if there are any things that they can do to help a little bit because it's torture. I don't even know how the fans watch it. Who wants to be in the stadium watching that either?
Oh, they have adult beverages in them.
True.
That's what the adult beverages are for. That'll keep you warm. Some homemade, some bourbon, some whiskey. Come on.
Heated benches. That's a good point. David has a good point. Heated benches. They probably help somewhat.
Well, we didn't have heated benches, so I didn't have that.
Yeah.
We didn't have that in high school.
Well, Bodine was in Florida in high school. He wasn't worrying about the heated benches.
Mm-hmm.
No, not in Florida. We were having a great time.
So, Bo, you want to talk about the 13 teams in the AFC that are still in play for the playoffs?
Yeah, let's do it real quick. Yeah.
16 teams in the conference. Only 3 of them, and really, honestly, only one of them's eliminated, and that's the Texans. But I think we know the Jets and the Jags are out. Mm-hmm. But everybody else
is in play.
Yep. You have 7. 1, 2, 3. So what I say, 13, 4 division leaders. So you have 9. You have 9 teams within the game and a half of each other for the 3 wild card spots.
Yeah,
that's a crazy number.
I'm telling you that they knew what they were doing when they added that 17th game. They knew what they were doing.
Is that a permanent thing now, Bodine? That's a 17th game for moving forward to next season and all continuation?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to make money off of a game 17 and then turn around and take it back. No, that horse has left the barn, right? That horse have left the barn. That gate, an average stadium, 60,000 times whatever the ticket costs. That's millions and millions of dollars. No, they're not turning that around. No.
Brandon's saying it's going to be 18 games in 5 years.
I'd say probably 10, because that'll be at 5 years. They'll bring it up, and it'll be a fight between the Players League and the union. The league and the union. So I'd say in 10 years. Yeah, I'd say in 10. Because then they'll take one more preseason game away, right? And then add a regular season game. And preseason will be strictly for rookies and players trying to make the team. The vets won't have anything to do with preseason.
Yep. So now everything gets interesting moving forward. We have 5 weeks left in the season.
Yep.
A log jam for playoff spots.
And most of the teams are playing within their division. Their
divisional games.
Divisional games. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys and Washington has a game this weekend and in 2 weeks. And then they've got the Eagles and the Giants. Those are all big-time games.
Absolutely.
Big, it's
especially
like
in the AFC West. Chiefs, Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. Who am I missing? Broncos.
Oh no, it's seriously the heat is about to turn up, right? And then the question is, what's Ben Roethlisberger going to do if they can pull it out and make it to the playoffs? Will this definitely be his last year? I think it is.
Yeah, I it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Steelers keep him on for another year,
Listen,
nah, he's gone. He's gone. He's
listen.
done.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Ben is articulate. He's tall. His face is perfect for TV. You think CBS haven't already reached out to his agent and said, "Here's a bucket of money. We want you to come to CBS because ESPN's got the Manning brothers, right?" Hey, who has the advantage? ESPN, CBS, or NBC, or Fox?
Well, I don't think
right?
that's going to matter. I don't think that's going to matter because he's not an ex-Cowboys quarterback. You know, all the ex-Cowboys quarterbacks get all the great jobs.
The only way I see him getting extended is if somehow miraculously the Steelers win the Super Bowl.
Oh,
and
that
then
ain't
they give
happening.
him
That ain't
right.
happening.
So then they give
Yeah,
him another
no.
1 year.
No.
But
I don't
see him staying on.
He'll be in a studio next season, and then he'll get moved to one of those, like what's his name, Romo. He'll get to try his
He'll be a commentator.
play-by-play guy or a color analyst. They call him analyst. So yeah, that Ben's done because they can offer him too much money, right? He's probably making what, 10 million this year. Somebody's going to offer him 10 to not play. What would you take? He's taking the money.
He's kind of pulling himself together a little bit, but nobody wants to go out on the lowest rung. The more he continues, the more his reputation is going to be tarnished. People remember. Yeah, so I think he's going to be looking to get out for sure.
Yeah. So if they end up 8-7, 9-7, right? Whatever that turns out to be, 17 games. If he has a winning season, he's done.
It's not going to be his choice. The Steelers have to put the foot down and say, "Thank you, we're done." I don't see how they can even give them a choice, and I don't see them making the playoffs. I mean, their final. The rest of their schedule is Vikings, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Ravens. If they make the playoffs, if they stay above 500, I'll give them a standing ovation. I don't see it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
I don't see it. That's a tough lineup for sure.
It's a tough lineup. Yep. Yeah. So what are the important games we got this Sunday? Well, tomorrow night we got Pittsburgh and Minnesota.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Minnesota tomorrow.
Tomorrow night we'll be able to see immediately what he looks like, right? And then
I'm taking the Vikings in that one.
You taking the Vikings in that one? I especially in Minnesota. I agree. I'd take the Vikings on that too. Yeah.
Yep, they are. They are on the road. We have Ravens, Browns.
David's giving
Dallas,
us the game.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that one. That's a 4:00 game. We'll get to that one.
Tampa, Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll get to those.
Is that now a 4:00 game?
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's a 1:00 game. It's a 1:00 game. I was thinking the Tampa game is at no, the Tampa Bay. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, the Tampa Bay game's 4:25 versus Buffalo. Yeah.
Well, good thing for the Cowboys. Gregory will be back. The Cowboys are getting very healthy very quick this week.
Yeah.
They should have their entire defense back for the first time in probably 6 weeks. They should have their entire coaching staff back after last week having to play with only about half of them. So I expect them to take care of business on Sunday.
Well, let me do a quick shout out before we continue. I want to shout out my Jacksonville Jaguars for giving us, the Philadelphia Eagles, Minshew, because we got Minshew mania here in Philadelphia because he came and won a game for us. So hats off to my Jaguars for giving up a really good quarterback, and he helped us win. So I'm happy about that.
Isn't it funny how those backups work? You have one great game, and all of a sudden, it's get rid of the starter, right?
And he's a character. He has some personality, so people they love him, and he had that in Florida too. So he's actually a good dude. He's an underdog. He's not like a typical 6'3", 6'5" quarterback. He's a little dude, but he went out and he plays and he won. So Hats off to him. That's the same about your guy in Washington. He's not the
Taylor.
typical, right? Heineke. He's not the traditional big-time quarterback, but he's playing and he's winning, and go for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame to watch him on Sunday because I root for him all. I root for him every week, and now I'm going to have to root against him.
Oh well. You may not like that ending, brother. You may not like that ending.
We'll be fine. Ravens Browns.
That's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game.
In Cleveland. In Cleveland.
Chiefs Raiders.
You
going with the Ravens?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's
I'm going with the Ravens
answer,
too.
but their offense has not been very good over the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
but I don't think you can trust the Browns.
This is a rivalry game, and the Ravens play well on the road, even though they haven't been playing great lately. They're not falling apart. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this as well. Because the chances of the Cleveland quarterback being 100% healthy after, with his shoulder and his other ailments, nah, I'm taking the Ravens. I'm with Joe. I'm with the Ravens. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Chiefs Raiders.
I think the Raiders beat them early in the season. So, right or no? Am I remembering incorrectly?
Did they win that game?
It's in Kansas City. I'm taking the Chiefs. It's in Kansas City. And it's cold. And Vegas has been playing indoors.
What's the Chiefs' record now?
They're in first place.
They're now 8-4 in first place.
In first place. They went from last place to first place in 4 weeks.
Yep.
Then I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd go with the Chiefs too. They're starting to play better. Their defense is playing very well.
They basically switched spots. Raiders were in first place. The Chiefs were in last. Now it's reversed. Amazing.
Yeah. Those are really the only big 1:00 games.
Yep, that's it.
4:00, we've got Niners Bengals in Cincinnati. Bengals seem to be back on the right track.
Yep. I got Cincinnati in that game. That's a home game for Cincinnati.
I do too. What about you, Joe?
I don't have much of an opinion on that game. I'm gonna wing it. Who are the Lions playing? Are they playing at 4?
Yep.
Yeah, they play the Broncos
in Denver.
In Denver.
That's a tough win. Yeah,
I think their winning streak's over.
Because if it's cold now, imagine how cold it's going to be in Denver. Oh,
yeah. I'm going to still root for them. I'm going to root for the Lions. I have high hopes for them. David saying Cincinnati has no business losing that game, the last game.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
That's right.
I agree.
But again, that's why you play the game. You got to stay motivated. You got to stay focused. Because if you don't, you'll get run over.
So the big game at 4:00 is Buffalo at Tampa Bay.
Yep. In Tampa. So Buffalo goes from playing in freezing cold weather, the wind blowing 50 miles an hour, down to Tampa, where it's going to be probably 75, 80 degrees.
Yeah. and the Bills have to have this game.
They have to, or
It's
they're in
it's a
trouble.
must.
They're in trouble
Yep.
if they lose it.
They lose this game, and the Patriots are off on the bye week. Yeah, they have to win this game,
Yep.
but I
They're in
don't
trouble.
think they will.
I don't think they will.
Yep. They're in trouble.
I mean, think about that game that they just played. There's a recuperation period for that. Even though that's their home stadium. I mean, that's the first. That's the most severe weather they've had this season. I mean, that was a tough game to play. The wind, the cold, it's
Yeah, it's a
tough
short week.
recuperation. Yeah.
Short week. Yep.
It's a better matchup for them, though. The Bucks are not as physical, so quite honestly, I expect a high-scoring game here. I really do.
Oh yeah, I could see both quarterbacks throwing 4 touchdowns apiece, racking up close to 800 total yards in offense between the two teams. I can see that. Yeah, makes it interesting.
And if that's the case, then it could be a pick 'em. I don't know what the line is on it, but I think that should be a really good game. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to check and see what time the Nova Baylor game is, because that's Sunday. I may have to make a decision.
Me too, GB.
I could do that.
Hmm.
I could do that. Then we have the Bears and the Packers at 8:00.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. They're talking about playing the rookie quarterback.
Justin Fields is back. He's been cleared.
Yeah.
He's been cleared to play.
Unless something outrageous happens, it's in Green Bay. It's a win for Green Bay.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Packers too.
Yeah. I don't see the Bears winning, but I mean it's Bears Packers, so you never know what'll happen there. But the Bears just aren't good enough.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. That rivalry might help them stay in it, but I don't see them. I don't see Aaron losing the game, because he's the best thrower of the football on this planet. Period. He can sling it.
Then the week ends with a great game, Rams at Cardinals.
Oh
And
yeah,
the Rams have to have this game to try to stay.
Yep.
Get back within a game of the Cardinals and have a chance of winning that division.
Yeah.
Is that the Sunday night game or the Monday night game?
That's the Monday night game.
I
the Bears Packers was the Sunday night.
Yeah, I think they're pressing because they're trying to do what Tampa did last year, which is win the Super Bowl in their own stadium. Because they have a good enough team to have a better record than what they have. I just think they're pressing.
Well, I think they have to stick. I think they have to stick to what they were doing. I think they've kind of lost their identity a little bit in during this time where they've lost. They've lost 3 out of 4, I believe. Aren't they on the 3? Aren't they on the 3-game losing streak?
And they lost some of their key players too, either through injury or out for the season. So it's not like it's, they just wasn't playing well because they weren't playing well. I mean, they had some issues. So, but everybody has issues. You got to fight your way through it.
Yeah, there are a couple offenses, and they're one of them, and the Cowboys are the other. There are a couple offenses that at the beginning of the year were on fire, and over the last month or two, they've really been stagnant and not the high power offenses that we thought they were going to be. And I think OBJ being added to that offense hasn't helped, because they're trying to target him a little more than just kind of fitting him into the system and making him a part of it and making him a weapon within what it is that they do. So lost 3 out of 4. That's what I thought. The Rams have lost the last 3 out of 4. So they need that game.
Yep, absolutely.
And everybody else needs the Cardinals to lose.
Which
also,
I don't see that happening. The Cardinals are the best team in the league.
Well, we're going to see. I hope not.
So Fred's asking me, Oh no. Am I a Jets fan? No. He's asking if I have a favorite NFL team, and I've had a few over the years, but I'm gonna put it out there and say that Tampa Bay is my favorite team now. So there you go, Fred.
Following Tom Brady.
All right.
So it should be a good week.
Should be a good week.
All right. Let's wrap it up. I think this is the longest we've ever gone.
It is. And David, I believe, likes my answer about Tampa Bay.
What are those emojis? I can't tell what they are.
Is laughing, and
I
Brandon
think
saying,
he's laughing at my Tom Brady comment, probably.
Oh, okay.
and Brandon saying, wait, what, Joe? I thought Vikings were your team. Well, Vikings is the team in this household. But I've never been one to follow the crowd, Brandon. I'm shaking it up. I got to go with Tampa Bay now. I think all the altruism that I've seen Tom Brady do, I just think all those fun stories just have pulled at my heartstrings. I before this year, I can say that I never was a Tom Brady fan, but I'm just drawn to those types of stories. I've always liked Gronk. I will say that. I just love how, the loyalty these people have to him. I like his relationship with Richard Sherman. It's just really multifaceted, and just the fact that he's such a talented player. I like his dedication to his nutrition, I think. So sorry, Brandon. Vikings are going to have to be my number 2. And David saying, well, Kirk Cousins is a future MVP.
Settle down, David. Settle down.
Well, here, Fred needs to settle down too. Fred is saying, yeah, that Joe needs to coach the NFL.
Every
Sunday. There yet.
Every Sunday, I have to listen to David tell me about Kirk Cousins.
Oh my goodness.
And Brandon saying, what? Someone needs to check and to see what David is on.
There you go. There you go, Brandon.
And Justin, this shocks me. This is shocking to me. Here's Justin's comment. Mac Jones is now the GOAT. Tom Brady's out. Mac Jones is in.
Well, listen, Mac Jones is from my hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. We know why Justin feels that way. It's okay, Justin. He's got a long way to go. But
he's very talented.
Sure. But TB12 did get received the Sports Illustrated Man of the Year award today. So, or Best Player of the Year or something like that. So he's not missing out on all these awards. What is it? What was he named today? Sports Illustrated something. Person of the Man of the Year or Person of the Year, something like that.
Justin told me.
I didn't see that.
Won Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year award.
There we go. Justin would know. There we go.
So
one more award for the Tom.
Yeah. So we'll close it out. Adrian, any closing thoughts? Oh wait, David has a comment. Most number of games scoring at least 27 points since 2020. I believe is this about Kirk Cousins, Bills, Buccaneers, Vikings. Yet their records in those games: Bills 16-2, Buccaneers 17-1, and Vikings 10-8. Give Kirk some help.
Hey, Ferris, what about your buddy that you were going to give the shout out to that we missed last week?
Oh, here he is right here, Kelvin.
Oh, Kelvin. There he is.
Wow, that you made it in, Kelvin. Wow, love this. Any given Sunday, you never know who's going to win in the NFL. That's certainly the truth. So we said we were going to give you a shout out tonight, Kelvin. So luckily you chimed in at the last second. My phone is dead, so if you're commenting behind the scenes, I haven't seen it, but glad you made it to the big screen. Thanks for joining the program. We appreciated it last week and appreciate it just as much this week. So thanks very much.
Zane. Good stuff. Well, just looking forward to another good week of football, and for me, I'm looking towards that top 6 Villanova Baylor game on Sunday. Should be a good one.
Well, Villanova plays is either San Diego State in football on Saturday in the playoffs at 2:00, but it's supposed to be 70 to 80% rain, I'm not going. And I'm not sitting in the rain watching football in the cold weather. Sorry, I'll catch the highlights or watch it on TV. Not doing it. So I'll watch the basketball. I'll record basketball on Sunday because I'll be watching football. So I'll get a chance to see those Wildcats. They beat who'd they beat? Syracuse?
They beat Syracuse last night.
So yeah.
Tough game.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. We crushed. I went to the St. Joe's game last Saturday. Oh, yeah. We crushed them.
Warm out.
Absolutely crushed them. So as we say in the mainline area, the St. Joe's Hawk can't count, right? So we like beating up on the St. Joe's fans. Absolutely.
Sure. So I'm going to close it out for a couple things. I want to tell everybody about our big promotion, our YouTube promotion. If you subscribe to our YouTube page, you got a chance to win some big prizes. You'd win a autographed copy of Race Against Race. That's one of our big prizes. Some Amazon gift cards to spend on the holidays, potentially up to $300. So you got the book, you got Bodine's signature, you got some cash. So and the more people if you subscribe, you have a potential to get one entry. You get your friends to subscribe. You get another entry for every person that subscribes. We do have, if we hit 500 subscribers, we're gonna as our first drawing, and then 750, and then 1,000. Our goal is to get to 1,000. So, everybody tell 10 friends, and then we should meet our goal. It would be a Christmas bonanza giveaway. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll do one more to make it real interesting. I'll throw a brand new Villanova hat as a prize in there.
All right.
How about that? Because I got my new hat that I got last weekend. So we'll throw a new hat in there. So
I think Adrian's going to subscribe now then. He wants a chance at that hat. So that's great. So, of course, I want to thank everybody. I also want to throw out there, we're going to have just as we did for Thanksgiving, or the Wednesday before Christmas, we're going to have a Christmas show. If anybody has any ideas or they want us to do anything or do anything different and fun, maybe we can play some games. Maybe we'll do trivia. It can't solely be sports because that's going to be like that IOC ruling. It's going to be a little bit disparate with me against Bodine and Adrian, but maybe we can even get maybe we can pull some guests on. I've been trying to convince Justin to come on. We'd love to have you on, Justin, as a guest. To think about that. That would be a lot of fun. And David, we could have David on, whomever wants to come on. We'd certainly be open to guests, right, guys? We should make it a party. We can have if you want to come on and comment live, what if we do that? That would be fun. Let's bring some other folks on. Take a shower that day. Yeah, take a shower, fluff up your hair, and join us. That would be a good time. I think we should do that. And then maybe we'll even get a special guest appearance from Chris P. Bacon. Oh boy, David's given us some ideas for our next show. Ideas for next episode. Prepare your top 5 running backs of all time.
David's
right.
a poll guy.
Right.
He's a GOAT poll guy.
I love hearing those lists. So I just started watching the NFL, David. So my top 5 are going to be all from this season. So I don't know what that's going to be. I'm going to have to do some digging. I'm going to have to do a lot of research if we're going to do that. And then to close it out, I know we spoke about all the victims of the school shooting, but I certainly want to, Tate Meyer, number 42, you're in my heart tonight. Certainly, we're predominantly a sports program, and so I definitely want to give him a shout out, and that's how I'd like to close the show. So you can play us out, and Chris P. Bacon, of course, you're our number one man behind the scenes. So thank you. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.
V's up.